So we went from toys to bugs to monsters. Let's see how this holds up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Pixar review in this series. And we are going into Monsters Inc. And this movie holds a huge sentimental value to me. I mentioned that Toy Story 2 was one of the first VHSs I ever owned. Well, Monsters Inc. is the very first movie I ever watched in theaters, and I was just blown away seeing all these different creative monsters. It was awesome. Now, keep in mind, this movie came out in 2001, which means I was 2 years old. So, around maybe like 2003, when they were releasing Finding Nemo, they started doing a recap of all the previous toy Pixar films up to this point. So I was lucky enough to go watch Monsters Inc. We could only afford one, and I said I want to see Monsters Inc. So I was very happy with that because this movie still holds up. And for a long time, this was my favorite Pixar movie. Over time, there is actually another one that is actually coming up very soon that I believe is the best Pixar movie. And we'll get to it very soon when we get to it. But this one's pretty darn close. As I'm older, I see more of like the little nitpicky problems. But then again, it's like when it was Pixar, man, everything was just gold around this time. And what made Monsters Inc. so special? I mean, you took a concept with toys and Toy Story, and now you're doing a similar thing, but this time with monsters. And basically, this is a world where monsters live, and they get their electricity from children screaming. And as time goes on, it looks like business is not going as good. Maybe they'll shut down, and they need like a real pro monster out there. And sure enough, James Sullivan, voiced by John Goodman, is that monster. A close second is Randall, voiced by Steve Buscemi. However, the difference between Sullivan, he has a Mike Wazowski, who at one point was actually one of my favorite characters ever because green was my favorite color. I mean, so many iconic green characters came from this. Mike Wazowski, Yoda, Shrek. So, green had some very sentimental value to me. It is my favorite color, but anyways, the dynamic between Mike and Sully is great. I do see that Mike is kind of a jerk sometimes, but I think that's what makes him very special and unique. I love when they show the commercial for Monsters Inc. and Mike is covered and he doesn't care because he's so excited, and like it was just very funny. So in this movie, a white door, which is the doors that you go in to basically scare the kids and get the power going. Here, one door gets left out by Randall, who we find out later on. But then in that door, a little girl by the name of Boo gets out. And, it's up to Sully, who was trying to hide her. Now, the funny thing is, like, you can't touch the kid because apparently the theory is that you can melt, you can die or something like that. And, there's like a whole back and forth of like whether or not like it's good to have humans interact with the monsters. But Sully finds this little girl and they're supposed to basically send her back to her home, but in the process they can't get caught. They spot a human at this restaurant where Mike is going on a date, and as they try to send her back, Sully is slowly building a relationship with Boo, and they find like kind of like a father-daughter type of relationship. You actually find out that Randall is actually the monster that's been scaring Boo. And I do love the dynamic between Sully and Boo. That moment where Sully thought that Boo was dead was very tragic, but it worked. And then you see like how this world works, where like if the kid is crying, the electricity can go crazy. At the same time, laughter plays a huge part in it. Um, and You can see why. I mean, noise is noise. But the big twist where Randall's trying to build a machine where they're just sucking the screams out of the children is insane and purely evil. And I do love that little twist where they do get sent to a door where there's just nothing but snow. It's like essentially Alaska, and then the abominable snowman is recruiting them. That was a nice little touch, like different monsters from different universes. I do love the part where they go from door to door and they're like running away from Randall. They're in Paris at one point, they're at a beach at one point. I'm starting to think, is this what inspired the multiverse? I'm just saying. Honestly, Billy Crystal is really funny in this. It's the same with John Goodman. So I think that's where like it evolves, and I do love the concept of screams are used to give the power to the world, and that moment where Boo sees Sully being a monster, scaring the robot kid as a product. You see like now what they see. Sully gets to see what the humans see, like, oh wow, we are not good people. What we're doing is horrible. And eventually the company goes out of business. But in a big twist, Monsters Inc. becomes now all about laughter, which is where Mike comes in, making everybody laugh. That was awesome. And I do love the ending where they actually, even though they break down the door, Mike puts in the effort to find all the pieces of the door, and eventually, Sully gets to see Boo, one last time at the end. That scene is so heartbreaking with the music where Sully saying goodbye to Boo. It is like it still gets me. It is such a devastating scene, and I think that's what Pixar was infamous for at this point, just making you cry. Um, and Yeah. So what do I like about this movie? First of all, the intro was top notch. I love the music. I love the doors. I love that they went to the original 2D animation for a little bit. I do see a world where they can explore more with Monsters Inc. I feel like they should have done it a long time ago because John Goodman and Billy Crystal are a lot older now. They can't be doing animation work forever. I mean, I'm pretty sure Billy Crystal's practically retired. I haven't seen him really do anything. John Goodman, I think the Connors ended. Pete Docter, who is the director of this movie, he should be the one running Pixar because this was great. And if you actually pay attention, the last recent couple of um projects that Pixar has done that have been good to great to even phenomenal have been through Pete Docter, and I'm saying to myself, why isn't this guy running it? Okay, John Lasseter is gone, but Pete Docter isn't. Get this man on board. It is a fun watch. Monsters Inc. does a really good job getting you invested. The characters look amazing. We still quote this lady going, Mike Wazowski. I just love it. It's very charming, very nice, simple premise. It's not my favorite Pixar movie ever, but it was the start of me falling in love with Pixar, and it does make me really appreciate it even more. Get ready to hear this for a while, but this movie gets an A plus. It is one of the best animated movies of all time, one of the best Pixar movies out there. I love it so much. I almost gave it an A, but I'm like, you know what? This holds a lot of sentimental value to me, and I love it, and I just can't get enough about it. I love it. And next week I will be talking about Finding Nemo, the first movie that ever gave Pixar an Oscar, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about that. Anyways, I'll see you next week for that review, and take care, everybody.